Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching an ABC 10 Plus recap of stories you may have missed. The future of Sacramento's Railyards project could be in trouble. The protests causing a shakeup. Then the future of the Sunrise Mall still uncertain. The ABC 10 Plus recap starts now. Right now, the future of Sacramento's Railyards development could be in trouble. The plan to expand a special tax district to build infrastructure hit a roadblock this week when dozens of residents filed formal protests.
ABC 10's Luke Clary is live at the Railyards to explain exactly what happens next. Luke.
Chris, Laura, that's right. City leaders believe that they were at the finish line when it comes to funding the infrastructure that's needed here for the Railyards development to get off the ground. But those plans may have just been derailed. The city's vision for Sacramento's Railyards district: housing, shops, and a brand new soccer stadium for Republic FC, now in trouble. Organized by the Hospitality Workers Union, Unite Here Local 49, 135 Railyards area residents submitted protest letters against the proposed Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District, or EIFD. Why are you protesting?
Because there's only 6% affordable housing coming out here.
Nancy Williams lives at the AJ, one of just 2 residential buildings in the Railyards, the other, the Wong Center. Both include affordable units.
I love soccer. I want this stadium here, but I also want people to be able to afford to live out here and to walk around out here.
The move caught City Council off guard, said Councilmember Phil Pluckybaum.
Deeply disappointing. Yeah, very. This is why we can't have nice things.
State law says if 25% of residents protest, the EIFD goes to a vote. If more than half object, the plan dies for a year.
If this challenge succeeds, we may end up with nothing. And the irony here is that if you live in those 2 projects and this deal falls apart, you are going to be living on an island in the middle of a dirt field for the foreseeable future.
Nancy and other protesters disagree. So you don't believe that this protest puts this project in jeopardy in any way?
No, all it is going to be a negotiation. Just take a little bit out of your pocket and give it to people that need it more.
The city is now verifying the signatures to see if the Railyards development plan moves forward or comes to a full stop. Now, we've reached out to Sacramento Republic FC and the Wilton Rancheria, which owns the club. They say that they're both still committed to the plan, but as for the city, what happens next is not entirely clear until they get done verifying those official protest signatures. Reporting live in Sacramento, Luke Clary, ABC 10.
This is indeed a developing story. Stay with us for updates as we learn more. Luke, thank you.
A scathing state audit is out on Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools, requested by 4 state lawmakers after our investigation called the Wild West of Education. The audit confirms what ABC 10 investigative reporter Andy Judson has been uncovering for years. Andy joins us now. So, Andy, what did this audit reveal?
Yeah, well, the state auditor found Highlands improperly took in more than $180 million in public education funds, money that they should have never received. The report confirms ABC 10's findings and details wasteful spending, unlawful hiring, and violations of state law, including gifts of public funds and conflicts of interest. And while the money poured in, student performance was so poor that it dragged down the overall state's graduation rate.
More than $180 million. That's how much money Highlands Community Charter and Technical Schools received when they shouldn't have, the California State Auditor says, making it one of the largest charter school debacles in the history of California. But to the whistleblowers who came to ABC 10, it's not surprising.
Not at all. Not at all. And although I'm not surprised, I'm still incredibly disappointed.
The audit confirms Highlands wasted public funds and broke the law.
To me, it's just a big duh. Really, that was my reaction, was like, duh.
thousands wastefully spent on items with no educational value, from sports sponsorships, political donations, to luxury travel, to places like Hawaii, Paris, and resorts in Southern California.
They've been using funds to benefit themselves. So it's just saddening.
And it was not just staff benefiting from your tax dollars, their families cashed in too. The audit details contracts handed to relatives, including nearly $400,000 since 2019 to a company owned by a Highlands director's spouse. And multiple contracts over $1 million were done with no board approval, violating the few policies they did have. And with no policies in place against nepotism or favoritism, Highlands hired and promoted unqualified friends and family members, often to six-figure positions. An audit table shows the director of attendance rose to a $145,000 salary thanks to their mother's seat on the board.
This is what happens when organizations and or leadership thinks they are untouchable.
And while the money flowed, students struggled. The audit says outcomes at Highlands were so low, they dragged down California's statewide graduation rate for the 2023-2024 school year. So who's responsible?
My overall feeling of the report is just, this triangulation of blame. SCOE and CDE and Twin Rivers just all blaming each other for lack of oversight.
Highlands Oversight Agency, Twin Rivers Unified, took nearly $13 million it cannot justify while doing next to nothing to provide real oversight. Even after a 2018 audit flagged critical issues that needed to be addressed, Twin Rivers renewed Highlands' charter anyway, and even misled its own board about the school's performance. The audit also holds accountable the California Department of Education, the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and Sacramento County's Office of Education, saying these agencies have the authority to provide oversight to charters like Highlands, but have not fully done so.
I hope they'll pay attention. I went to those agencies before we went to you. They just brushed me off and didn't take anything seriously, and I hope that we do create some new legislature or guidelines for oversight.
And with the audit's findings, it's now up to lawmakers and law enforcement to decide what's next. Highlands says it's launching reforms and has appointed a new executive director, Jonathan Raymond, who's the former superintendent of Sac City Unified. And it's worth noting we have requested an interview with him. And Twin Rivers Unified responded saying they've worked in good faith with the auditors. They disagree with some findings, but that they followed the law and are committed to improvement. Walt?
So this is an educational institution, as you well know. Have you seen this level of misconduct with so many people involved here?
Yeah, I think what people forget is that, education institutions are businesses too. They're operating off of our tax dollars. And we have seen other issues, especially with charter schools in California. But this is one of the biggest debacles in our state's history. And one of the reasons why is because of so many different issues happening. I have my notes here because the audit's so long. Misreporting attendance, breaking the law with gifts of public funds and conflicts of interest, using tax dollars on luxury travel, hiring friends and family members, and spending money on political donations. That's what really makes this a big, big problem and what lawmakers are looking to correct the course on. Walt?
This is so much lack of oversight, so much large sum of money without meeting basic requirements.
It is. And, there's a number of agencies that have an umbrella over Highlands and other charter schools. For Highlands specifically, they have the Twin Rivers Unified, they have their own board, they have the Sacramento County Office of Education and the California Department of Education. The audit said all of those agencies should have been doing better and providing more oversight, but especially Twin Rivers Unified School District. They actually took $13 million because they get money from providing oversight, and they basically did nothing. So the audit holds them and all those agencies accountable too.
Yeah, even the woman that you interviewed who said, duh, she went through the proper channels to go to the proper people to say, hey, but it took your reporting to finally get action here. Why is that?
I mean, that's really the question here. We've had over 40 sources. I think today it stands at 42 sources who've come forward and talked with us both on and off camera, and they're current and former employees, and it took all of them to come forward. So that shows that there's a real issue here with people, whistleblowing and trying to bring light to these issues, because a lot of them say they were completely brushed off by these agencies and were not taken seriously until our reporting came out. So that's one of the things the audit recommends, is that there needs to be new laws to provide better oversight so this doesn't happen again.
Two quick questions, Andy, before we let you go. Is Highlands still operating?
It is. It is still operating.
Okay.
They did lay off 87% of their staff, and they're trying to reconfigure things right now, but as of now, it's still in operation.
And Highlands Charter serves what particular student? Is it high school continuation? Who is the student there?
It's a very particular group of students, and they're especially vulnerable because they're adult students. Most are refugees and newly arrived immigrants. So these are people who do really need an education and are getting their steps in the door here in the United States of America. So that's why a lot of our sources were so concerned that that money isn't going to benefit them. It's going to benefit school leaders and being used inappropriately.
The most vulnerable of students.
Absolutely.
Taken advantage of. Okay. Andy Judson, thank you for all you do on this story. Well, the California Department of Education says they've taken specific actions to hold the school accountable, repeatedly raising concerns. Watch the entire Wild West of Education investigation. Download our ABC10 Plus streaming app to do so.
Well, listen to this. The Trump administration has found the California Department of Education and the State High School Sports Federation violated civil rights laws by allowing transgender girls to compete on girls' sports teams. The Federal Education Department proposed a resolution today that requires California to bar transgender women from women's sports and also strip transgender athletes of records, titles, and awards. It's the latest escalation in the Republican administration's plan to bar transgender athletes from women's sports teams nationwide. If the state rejects the proposal, the Education Department could move to terminate the state's federal education funding. Secretary Linda McMahon says the state must swiftly come into compliance or face the consequences that follow. Title IX is a 1972 law forbidding sex discrimination in education. Governor Gavin Newsom said in part, quote, "It wouldn't be a day ending in Y without the Trump administration threatening to defund California."
Today, President Trump disputes the initial intelligence report on the strike against Iran's nuclear facilities. President Trump has said the nuclear program was obliterated.
But sources tell ABC News early intelligence suggests the program might have only been set back by a few months. Perry Russum has more from Washington.
President Trump today adamant his attack against Iran obliterated their nuclear program.
It's blown up to kingdom come. The site has been demolished. The whole thing is collapsed in a disaster.
It comes as sources tell ABC News a preliminary Pentagon report indicates at least 2 of Iran's nuclear facilities hit in the attack were probably not destroyed, and Iran's nuclear program was only set back by a few months. 2 people briefed on the classified preliminary report from the Defense Intelligence Agency say Iran's centrifuges might still be intact. The bombing sealed off at least 2 of Iran's nuclear facilities' entrances, but they did not destroy their underground structures. One source familiar with the initial intelligence says much of the enriched uranium was not destroyed because it was moved before the U.S. struck. Trump disputes that.
I think we hit them so hard and so fast they didn't get to move.
Another official says the report makes clear the findings are not conclusive, saying it would take days to weeks for answers. A key briefing tomorrow on Capitol Hill. The Senate will get a classified briefing on Iran after it had been postponed.
I think as members of Congress, the administration has an obligation to give us a very thorough and informed brief with the principles that can provide that information.
We still have to see how much the Trump administration decides to share with the senators tomorrow. After that briefing, the House gets their briefing on Friday. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
Today, the Citrus Heights city manager is reaffirming the city's commitment to revitalizing Sunrise Mall after recent setbacks.
Yeah, in a letter, Ash Feeney acknowledges the city is addressing growing concerns over declining conditions at the property. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has more.
In the heart of Citrus Heights sits Sunrise Mall, built in 1971.
It was a home neighborhood kind of place.
But shopping habits have changed in the decades since it first opened, leading to less shoppers and ultimately less stores.
There's a need for an evolution of that property. The City Council recognized that and started a city-initiated specific plan process and actually had a approval of that specific plan in November of 2021 that sets a new vision for the property.
City Manager Ash Feeney describes the vision as a downtown Citrus Heights mixed-use destination with retail, housing, and gathering spaces for things like concerts and farmers markets. But some people like this mother and daughter say they'd prefer the mall to stay the same.
I don't go to farmers markets a lot, so that really doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not even like part of the night scene, so having music here isn't a huge deal.
There's been some bumps in the road with the revitalization plan. In April, developer Ethan Conrad dropped his plan to buy 50 acres of Sunrise Mall after City Council shot down his proposed revisions to the Sunrise Tomorrow plan. And in a quarterly message to Citrus Heights, Feeney says the city has received multiple complaints about unsafe conditions at the property.
With the existing conditions at the mall, there was a lot of code violations, and they're not keeping that property up in a way that's respectful to the community that they're owning property in. So those are for code enforcement violations. There's approximately $300,000 deep there.
Feeney says it includes everything from general care and upkeep with junk and weeds to concerns about security. He met with Namdar Realty, who owns a majority of the mall, and expects them to be compliant with codes and ordinances.
More importantly, what our future vision is, and let's get some action out at that site that's consistent with the plan. So we can see that start to redevelop and be a benefit once again to this community in this region.
In Citrus Heights, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Roxanne, thank you. We did reach out to Namdar Realty for comment, but we are waiting to hear back. The city manager says the plan is fully entitled and all the approvals are in place for it to move forward. They're just waiting on a developer, so stay with us for updates. In the meantime, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods now for a check on our weather, and there have been no complaints so far. Very mild.
I know you're tracking a warm-up, though, in the forecast, huh, Monica?
I am, and we're going to put a couple of 100s in there for some folks. It's not widespread. I know, that always gets our attention, but here's a look at how things are going to play out in the forecast. We will head into tonight with that light breeze, giving us a little bit of natural air conditioning. Tomorrow, steady temperatures, very similar to today, and then looking ahead, we get into that summer heat. It'll hit us pretty hard over the weekend. Temperature trend, though, over the past couple of days have been quite favorable. Average high 90. Our warmest this week was Monday at 93 degrees. Today, we're kind of flirting closer to that, but still, when we look at the rundown for June, we're going toe-to-toe here on the number of average temperatures above average and below average, 10 and 10. We've had 4 days right on target. So all things considered, this has been a pretty nice June so far. Highs for today, again, we're just a little bit shy of getting those official highs out there for today. So far, though, upper 80s and lower 90s in the valley, cool along the coast, 63, and the high country in the 70s. Right now, we're at 88 degrees for Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, Marysville, sitting in the low 90s. Tahoe currently 75 with that sunset at 8:34. So we'll hang on to just a little trickle of a breeze in the forecast for the next couple of days. It's not going to be quite as prominent as what we had earlier this week when we had those temperatures in the 80s, but just enough of it to keep us out of that 100-degree threshold widespread throughout the valley. Now we get into that moderate heat risk Saturday as well as Sunday, even a little bit of that hanging on into our Monday forecast, but it really doesn't look like it's going to be widespread deep 100s in the forecast. The presence of that low kept us with that nice onshore flow. As it kind of loses its grip across the west, we see that ridge of high pressure building in, peaking on our Saturday forecast, and then this little low develops again off the coast, and that'll get us back down into the lower 90s by Monday. Highs in the 70s for the Sierra tomorrow, with 80s and 90s throughout the foothills. Highs along the coast after morning fog will clear those skies and get us into the upper 60s, 90s inland, and we'll see those 90s as well throughout much of the valley. So we're not quite at that 100-degree threshold yet. Highs will warm continuing into our Saturday and Sunday forecast for the mountains. We're in the 80s, 90s for the foothills, and along the coast we're in the upper 60s to right around 70. So that's the place to beat the heat. Highs will be in the 90s for tomorrow, but we're mid to upper 90s on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, a little bit cooler into our Monday outlook. 4th of July, still looking good. Highs in the low 90s.
Today is National Catfish Day. If you've been watching Mark S. Allen during the 2 hours we've been on, and we're not talking about online scams, but rather the fish that resembles a cat. So in honor of National Catfish Day, we're shining some light on a local restaurant, a family-owned business that has won awards for its catfish. So our Mark S. Allen is there. He's got the whole troupe at Sarome's Southern Kitchen in Sacramento with his catfish report. Take it away, sir.
Yeah, I got the whole troop. The troop's getting rowdy. Say hi, troop. All right. Hey, if you're just tuning in, you missed a lovely 5 o'clock. I was on Folsom Lake. I caught all the catfish you're about to see today, because that's the way they do it at Sarome's Southern Kitchen. Raise your hand if your name is Sarome. That would be hi, Sarome. We've known each other for a while. Thanks for letting us do this morning.
Good morning.
All right, so she immigrated to the U.S. in the 1980s. At that time, there was a presidential proclamation declaring forever this day would be National Catfish Day. How does that make you feel?
Wonderful. I feel great. And to be part of the National Catfish Day.
Yeah, and also we should talk about the fact that we're talking about catfish. They have been awarded several times over, written up several times over for their catfish, but also the jambalaya. And this is one of my favorite Sarome stories ever about this specific Sacramento Bee jambalaya article. A reporter came in, didn't really identify as a reporter, and started asking you a lot of questions about your jambalaya, right?
Yes. He started asking about the ingredient in the jambalaya and stuff like that. And then I said, what? Oh, you're going to open a restaurant?
Yeah, you thought it was somebody trying to poach your recipe.
Yeah.
And then a few days later, you had a line out the door and you had no idea why. And what did someone say?
Oh, you are on the article, Sacramento Bee. So that's when we went and got one from AM/PM.
Yeah, they ran down the street to get that. All right, but truth of the matter, back to the matter at hand, it is National Catfish Day. Talk about your catfish. First, let's go to the chef. What makes it special?
Well, actually, we have, a lot of stuff to choose from. You're welcome to come in and try it yourself. So.
All right. So, although it's about the catfish, it's about the variety. But your catfish is especially fresh.
Yep, we made it to order. So, breaded and marinated and breaded and deep fried.
Awesome.
Crunchies to the way you want it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this guy, we should point out they're not open today, but you saw it on TV. You are a regular here. You've been coming here for how long?
2 years, about 2 years.
And what makes their catfish so special?
I love it. It's a great place. They make it fresh, and the people are so friendly. I love the people here.
Got it. All right. Sarome started it. When you talk about the friendly people, Sarome's daughter actually manages the place, so keeping the family business alive.
Yeah, alongside my bestie, my mom.
Your sister runs the Elk Grove location. Is there some rivalry? Are you trying to get better numbers than them?
My brother, yeah.
Oh, your brother. I'm sorry, your brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
heck yeah. We're better here. The original.
Right. Although your brother in Elk Grove would say we're better there. So, like I said, award-winning catfish. It is National Catfish Day, but don't forget them on Chicken and Waffle Day. Don't forget them on Chicken Fried Steak Day. I could go on forever. What do you want me to bring back, Walt?
And I love the chicken wing there, and they got the jambalaya looks amazing. It's almost like, please, there's too much shrimp in the jambalaya. You got to take some out, if there is such a thing.
I'm getting overstimulated. I promise one of these dishes will not be coming back.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Hey, you're out there busting, getting us good stories. You deserve something to eat, my friend. All right, thank you. Looking forward to your next update to see how much food is actually left there.
Thank you so much for watching this ABC 10 Plus recap. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
We're in day one of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns. Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. Up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.
We are in day 1 of a weather impact alert.
Tracking a couple big weather impacts, including a red flag warning and big heat developing.
Heavy rain continues. I hear it on the roof right now. We're already seeing the impact of the storm.
We're planning for those changes.
Triple-digit heat leading to cancellations and concerns.
Stay fire ready.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on ABC 10 Plus.